Good evening, wrestling fans. You are listening to yet another Radulich and Broadcasting Network alternative commentary. This time, we are providing alternative commentary for Major League Wrestling, MLW. Never Say Never 2021. Jacob Fatu, the best Samoan, the great Samoan world champion for Major League Wrestling versus Fat Calvin Tankman, who I first got to know in Game Changer Wrestling, and I went, where did this fat piece of shit come from? Well, apparently he's the toast of the town, so he gets to fight Jacob Fatu in one of their premier events. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And joining me first is the 411 Mania coverage god and the lord of all things MLW every Wednesday when he provides coverage for Fusion. The man who's going to give me all the details on all these great wrestlers, Robert Winfree. How do you do, sir?
Yeah, details. Great wrestlers. For the record, I took over covering MLW after the passing of Larry Zonka, who would watch any. We all miss Larry.
He watched everything. I think he watched everything except Game Changer Wrestling. That was my beat.
Yeah, he actually wrote coverage or a review for the SmackDown versus Raw, whatever game had been released. That was like purely AI versus AI matches that the WWE released. He actually wrote reviews for those.
Amazing.
Yeah, because he just did. I mean, Larry was a workhorse in that respect. But in the wake of his passing far, far too soon, we 411 said, "Hey, there's a bunch of stuff we used to cover because Larry would cover it."
I was going to say, hey, 900 of you that work here, you're all going to be needed to replace one guy.
Yeah, you're not joking. I mean, you're exaggerating how many people contribute to 411, but you're not exaggerating that it takes a boatload of people to make up for his singular contribution. And MLW became one of the things that I did. At the time, they said, "Hey, will you cover Fusion?" I said, "Sure." The next week, they said, they were off for a couple of weeks, and then went, "Hey, we're re-airing all the old MLW Underground stuff from the early 2000s. Boy, isn't this all dated. But it's coming out on the YouTube channel, so review it, monkey." And I got hip to the jive for Terry Funk versus Abdullah the Butcher, and my wife goes, "Is this live?" And I'm like, "Well, first of all, there's a crowd, you idiot. Second of all, no, it's fucking Terry Funk, who's 100 years old, and Abdullah the Butcher, who has all the hep, all of it. So no, it's not live." So I covered that, and once they got back to releasing new content, I cover that. Again, Wednesdays, it goes up in the Wrestling Zone of 411 Mania if you want to get my full thoughts on this show that have already been published. But I'm happy to go through it again here with all of you.
Well, all of us means Chris Bailey is here. Oh my God, Chris Bailey from the Superblog Team Up and the Superhero Satellite and all the Podsman review wrestling shows that we do for TV Party tonight. Oh my God, it's Chris Bailey, Chris Bailey, Chris Bailey. How do you do? How do you do? How do you do?
This is like working with Shawn Michaels. I've been elevated, finally, from the basement, from the tapings, the dark matches on NXT, now to the main event here with Robert Winfree and Mark Radulich. Finally, I've achieved greatness here. Never say never. I don't know if that's greatness, but we'll talk about it anyway.
Make your pecs dance for me, Chris.
Ooh, they're doing it right now. They're bouncing.
Perfect. All right, let's get into it. We have the show loaded up. We are going to just watch it straight from beginning to end, all 55 minutes of it. So here we go. MLW, I'll get it right the third time. Never Say Never 2021, which listed 3 matches, Robert, but I think there were 4 total, if I remember correctly.
No, I'm pretty sure there's only the 3.
There's just 3.
Simon Gott versus Jordan Oliver. What was the second match?
Myron Reed versus Daivari, and then our main event of Calvin Tankman and Jacob Fatu.
All right, so right now we're seeing pre-match interviews between Jacob Fatu and Calvin Tankman. So, how much Calvin Tankman have you been able to watch, Robert, outside of MLW, or is it only his participation in MLW you've seen?
I have only watched his MLW stuff.
And your 50 words or less impression of Calvin Tankman?
He's capable of individual spots of impressive athleticism given his physical makeup. Which is a nice way of saying he's a little bit of a hefty boy.
A little bit.
But he struggles to actually put together a cohesive story in his matches. He's been doing a lot of squash stuff thus far in MLW.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose I can spoil this just a little bit. That's a problem that's going to rear its head in our main event.
So, as I said before, Chris, my first exposure to Calvin Tankman was through Game Changer Wrestling. And here's the thing with Game Changer Wrestling. Their normal shows, like not their backyard shows or their shows that are specifically geared towards like death matches, but like their normal... Like when they came back post-lockdown over the summer in, I think it was Missouri, and then on the Jersey Shore... They just ran like regular matches for the most part, except for the one where Joey Janela threw the Japanese doll out, like clear out of the ring and possibly into the Atlantic Ocean. They Game Changer Wrestling is like the very definition of spot monkey indie-rific. It's something that Jim Cornette has complained about incessantly. When he says Outlaw Mud Show, he in most cases is specifically referring to them. And so Calvin Tankman fit in really well there because he got to do the, mash button move spot monkey indie-rific matches that people go to that to enjoy. So it's kind of disheartening to hear that he doesn't change his style at all for MLW, Robert. That's frustrating to hear because if they're going to put him in this high-profile spot, I want him to high-profile, quote-unquote, against Jacob Fatu, who's been the champion since 1977.
2019, for the record.
I was close.
What was the year? When did he win it?
He won it in 2019. He defeated Filthy Tom Lawler for it. And
big mistake there.
Look, if Jacob Fatu isn't the best wrestler in MLW, he's second to Filthy Tom Lawler.
Oh yeah.
That said, one of the things about MLW at the moment that they're having to deal with is a severely depleted roster. They got, straight rated would be the wrong way to phrase it in 2020, but they lost a lot of talent between, again, some legitimate acquisitions from larger companies,
AEW.
Some of them struggling with their finances. There was a period of time when they were re-airing Underground that there were ongoing gags about, how much financial trouble the show was in.
So, now you've been watching MLW for a little bit, right, Chris?
Absolutely, yeah. So basically, I've started almost at the beginning of Contra. So, and I think that's when you talk about MLW and its recent tenure, I think that's basically all that needs to be said about the company. It's Contra versus everybody else. So that's the justification of every single storyline that basically happens. And right now you've got Injustice and Tankman taking on Contra, and that's your your crux for this entire show. And it seems like that's the center pin of every single show. Every now and then we'll get some luchadors out there. We'll get the La Parks. But, and maybe the Von Erich sprinkled in every now and then. But this is it, and you're seeing it right on your screen here now.
All right, so our first match, we're finally in the ring. We've got Simon Gotch versus Jordan Oliver, and...
I can't see the stream.
Okay, hang on.
Wait now.
And we start off with Jordan Oliver and Simon Gotch miss a clothesline and a tackle, and they are on the mat. And Gotch, who we remember from the Vaudevillains in NXT and for the cup of coffee that they were on the WWE main roster, Gotch, the grappler, he is trying to ground the more high flyer Jordan Oliver, Robert.
Oof. Yeah, full disclosure, I don't like Jordan Oliver.
No, me neither. The whole injustice thing is really, really bad. He's got what Chris Sheen calls slappable face. I really don't like this guy, but I tell you what, having Simon Gotch as part of Contra is actually a pretty good idea, because I think he got lost in the entire Vaudevillains thing for a while, and this feud is one of the highlights. At least you get decent work rate, and I don't know if we're really seeing it right now, but Gotch can go in that ring, man.
He had him in a front face lock there, and they were at least rolling around for a bit. This is one of the things I like about this style. I like when you have a grounded base grappler, trying to ground the high flyer and make him work.
Yeah,
well,
and I'll go ahead.
Unfortunately, what you're running into with Jordan Oliver at this point is that he's a very bad high flyer.
Yes. Yeah, he misses a lot of cues, a lot of moves. He does it.
Not that athletic.
Which is basically what you need in a high flyer, someone who can actually execute a move.
And he's also not big enough to be a legitimate, kind of heavyweight threat in that respect. So at the moment, all he's good for is taking a beating.
So you had a good ankle lock there on Gotch. They like I said, they rolled around for a bit, they grappled, and then he reversed and got Gotch in an ankle lock on the mat. Now they're doing a spot here on the ropes. Jordan Oliver pulled the rope down. Gotch gets knocked to the outside. Now here we go.
No, he's going to avoid it.
Oh,
Oliver's going to not get hit, and Gotch is going to clobber him in a second. The majority of this match is Gotch on offense because Oliver does stuff like this.
Oh, that was particularly bad.
So
what was he
Jordan
going for?
Oliver,
was he going for a back elbow there?
No,
he was going for his finisher.
He was going for a flying cutter.
He springs backward off the second rope and again lands a cutter, which I hate as a finish personally.
That used to be a big deal when they introduced that a little while ago, but has been overdone.
If you do it like Diamond Dallas Page or Randy Orton, it doesn't look so obviously like you're cooperating. But when you do it like that, first of all, you have to look behind you like Jordan Oliver does. He totally telegraphs it. Oh, yeah. And the other guy has to just kind of sit there with his head stuck out, ready for you to grab it, and then bump for you. And it's like, all right, you're not fooling anybody.
It becomes shades of QT Marshall. Oof, everybody's favorite. All right, we're looks like Gotch wants none of that. He's talking to the ref there. He's tossing around the headband. He used that headband, guys. Unbelievable.
He did. He choked Jordan Oliver with his own headband. The disgrace.
I don't understand. This is supposed to be catch-as-catch-can, like, legit wrestling. How could he use a headband in plain view of the ref and not get disqualified?
Well, it was in the ring, Mark, you see. He didn't bring a foreign object in the ring. Jordan Oliver brought that thing in the ring. My God.
That's true.
Is that like a Danhausen thing? Teeth are not illegal because you bring them in the ring with you?
I don't know.
Have you not heard of the greatness that is Danhausen?
No, and God, Oliver. I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but every bit of selling he does, he has to look for the camera first. Gotch does the lion's share of the work for this match.
So is that a key lock he's got on him?
Yeah, it's a bit of an Americana. He's going to try and transition into an armbar, but we're too close to the ropes.
To break this one up here. Here we go. Jordan Oliver very lucky on that one. That could have been a submission right there.
And he rolls to the outside.
Yeah, he's about to get beat up here.
Gotch's bored.
Well, Gotch at least knows how to string together a match. He's good about keeping his offense going and not just going spot to spot, about finding places in between to do stuff.
Yep.
And he's good about, he understands what his character does in relation to his ring work, so he does a lot of the mat work. And Oliver, again, trying to fight back, but
not for suplex on the outside. Oh!
Boom! Down goes Oliver.
Very nice. Oliver's crying like a baby here.
And again, he sits up, finds the camera, then starts selling.
Make sure you get my good side.
Yeah, I really am not a fan of his work.
No, me neither. I don't like the entire Injustice tag team. I hate it.
What don't you like about Injustice, Bailey?
Oh, well, there's a whole lot of injustice. Basically, the whole gimmick is, they're against the injustice of society and how people, people are, it's really, really political. But but with a street, but with a street vibe, which makes it 10 times worse. Gotcha.
Most of their video. Their video promos are all done in black and white because, don't you understand, Mark? The world is in black and white.
And
that
both
makes
of these
no
guys
sense.
weigh exactly 150 pounds together at a combined weight, which makes it worse.
Yeah, Reed, who we'll see in our next match, Myron Reed is a fairly stereotypical cruiserweight on the indie scene.
He is.
Jordan Oliver just took a kick to the head, and he's got all kinds of spill coming out.
Yeah, he started doing that in his title match with Jacob Fatu.
They put this jabroni against Jacob Fatu?
He was murdered.
Yeah, on Fusion a few weeks back. Again, see the previous discussion about their talent roster being severely depleted.
I'm telling you, Mark, when I tell you that it's Contra versus 3 other guys, that's the entire roster.
I mean, they have Alex Hammerstone.
Who is currently in sort of a feud with Mil Muertes.
Yeah.
Which is going to be fun. Those two are going to hoss the crap out of each other. But Muertes was brought in because there's apparently a bit of an idea. See, again, look at that jackass looking directly at the camera after. It's distracting. Nobody does this in real life.
He's like
He's
Jon
got a
Stewart.
great, beautiful top knot there.
He's like Jon Stewart on The Daily Show when he does the bit where he's purposely looking for the right camera.
Look, this guy is every bit of that Family Guy episode where Peter Griffin yells at the children on stage. I'm very aware that I'm watching a play. Jordan Oliver actively reminds everyone that what we're seeing is bad community theater.
Simon Gotcha's wondering what he ever did to deserve to be in this pay-per-view right now.
Part of the reason that Oliver goes over here, I think, is there's rumors that Gotch might be on his way out of MLW. I don't know if he's re-signed with them. I know his contract came up recently.
To go where?
So I don't know.
Okay.
Somewhere with more consistent finances, I imagine.
All right.
If there was anyone else but Tankman in this main event, I would have sworn this would have been the end of Contra, or where they were headed anyway. You know what I mean? A disillusionment. But yeah, this would make sense if he's on his way out the door.
Something like that. And again, just
malfunction at the junction there. Look at that. Terrible, terrible miscue on that clothesline.
That's supposed to be the Marufuji spot. And when you do a spot worse than Ted DiBiase Jr. does it, ripping off Narumichi Marufuji, something is very wrong.
He came in at the wrong angle. It was like, are you trying to clothesline me? Yes. Okay, I'll fall down.
Yeah, that was really awkward looking.
Yep.
That is going to be on Jordan Oliver's tombstone. He was awkward looking. And
see, does it again.
Almost into the catch. Snapmare's out of it. We're going into the finishing sequence here.
Yep.
Gotch goes
what was he going for?
Kick out.
Was he going for like a sharpshooter?
And,
there it is.
And
he finally hits his cutter.
Vaudevillain land here for Simon Gotch. Game over. Injustice takes the first win over Contra. Heaven forbid Contra lost the match.
Jordan Oliver got maybe 10 seconds of offense this entire match, and that includes the finish.
He just looked at Robert Winfree and said, "I'm looking at you, baby." Right at that camera.
You're one of a handful of wrestlers I do think I could beat in a fight.
And I would pay actual money.
So I downloaded this podcast because I was really interested to hear what these guys were saying about MLW Never Say Never. And oh my God, the 3 of them who sounded like they liked it at first. Nope, shit all over it. And that's what we do here at Radulich Broadcasting. Hey, that thing you like?
Well, hold on. Again, I cover MLW weekly. I'm not opposed to every show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. In fact, some of them I've been quite complimentary of. But we're talking about this show in particular and this match in particular, and I'm not gonna. I have to speak the truth about that.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I watched. I haven't seen the second 2 matches on the show, but I did watch. That's my second viewing of Jordan Oliver versus Simon Gotch because I watched that while I was waiting to punch out at work. And
you couldn't get enough.
And I'll tell you, I've been saying all year so far that Tom Lawler's Filthy Island was my favorite show of this year, and I was really excited for this. And then I watched that first match, and I'm like, okay, so now I know not everything in MLW is super good.
No, and then see Tankman here in the preview.
Yeah.
Speaking of not super good.
I don't want to bury Tankman at the moment. I have thoughts when we get to his match that we'll get to. You mentioned Filthy Island, which I covered and I loved. I laughed my butt off to that entire show. It was the best thing.
Oh, the Injustice logo was on the screen.
Hang on, here comes Contra. Joseph Samael is utterly wasted in this role, but he's so good at it. He's so good at it.
The entire Contra gimmick started out amazing. Like it was literally like a more harder version, and like a not even trying to be cool version of like an NWO type takeover. And they really, put the screws to this league. So Contra's been dominant the entire time. So just seeing a loss here in this first match was interesting.
Yeah, it is a bit of a rarity for them to take L's. And spoiler, they're going to take another one in the between Reed and Daivari, which I'm more okay with for a variety of reasons that we can get into. I'm not sure where they're going to go with Contra. There's a few. MLW is juggling about 8 different things. There's the ongoing rumor and tease of what they're going to do with a potential Lucha Underground revival.
They announced during this show, spoilers, that they've partnered up with Dragon Gate, which I didn't even know was still around, because you want to know when the last Dragon Gate show I watched was? Daniel Bryan was still on the product.
Oh, wow. When was the last Dragon Gate USA show?
Dragon Gate USA, it's been a while.
I was going to say, it's been about a decade. It's had to have been about a decade, because my daughter was born. And I think it was... Like I said, he was on the show. You know what? I'm going to look it up. But I swear to God, he was on the show.
Again, I'd have to double check. I'm sure Larry covered all of it. So it's somewhere in the archives at 411 will be a review of the last Dragon Gate USA show. I'm almost positive.
All right, May 8th, 2010, which would make sense. This was in Mississauga, Ontario, which aired on July 9th, 2010.
In Canada, no doubt. All right.
And
Stephen New. We don't talk enough about Stephen New. How did this guy get so involved with MLW?
It's not been a secret about some of the financial hardships that MLW's been dealing with, and anyone willing to sponsor their content, they'll cash your check.
So, Robert, answer me this question. If you have legal woes, are you going to go to the guy on MLW Wrestling?
If I was part of the class action lawsuits that he references, probably. If I have more specific legal needs, no, I'm probably going to go to someone who's actually relatively local to my location.
Oh boy, that's funny. You're going through a list of podcasts, including the wonderful Raven podcast, which is just basically him drunk, swearing, and having fun with his co-host.
Yeah. I have not. I got out of the listening to most wrestlers podcasts a while ago.
Well, so it's got him blowing into a piccolo and doing music for his audience. It's that bad.
Who are we to judge?
Yeah, true. That's right.
So it might have been this show. 2010, Untouchable Open the Untouchable Gate, which was a pay-per-view from Dragon Gate USA. It was taped September 25th, 2010, and aired November 12th, 2010, and it was headlined by Bryan Danielson versus Yamato, and that sounds like something I would have watched.
Yeah, we've probably not... again, Dragon Gate USA has kind of been... it might have been, kind of on hiatus for a bit, but Dragon Gate in Japan has been in pretty constant production. I don't think they've ever... I mean, whatever they did for the pandemic obviously would have been a slowdown, but they never stopped really being a thing, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised Tony Khan hasn't swept the Dragon Gate yet. I'm surprised MLW came first to the dance.
I mean... They've got a lot going on with Impact, and I think they just started doing a thing with New Japan. Yep. So, one thing at a time.
Tony Khan actively making New Japan worse. You know what? Good for you, Eddie.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that he's actively making it worse?
Because everything he touches gets worse.
Okay, so you have no way. So again, it's just more blind hatred from the well that is Robert Winfree and no actual evidence. Got it.
Oh, he's got to. Robert, you have to join us for an AEW show. I can't wait. I got to hear that.
I cover AEW Dark Elevation.
Oh no!
Yeah,
oh,
feel
sorry.
his pain, and here comes Davari. Speaking of pain.
So Davari, speaking of pain, yeah, if this guy gets any bigger, he's going to explode of steroid rage here. Oh my goodness.
Davari is jacked to the gills.
Like there's steroids where you get to a certain peak, and then there's like next level shit where you're injecting it in your eyeballs and in every part of your body. This guy is absolutely stacked here. Like wow,
he's gonna
the best he's ever looked.
He's gonna take his shirt off a bit into this match. Yeah, he is incredibly ripped.
And not only that, this is a really good departure for Davari too. Because I mean, since he joined Contra, he's got this edge, and I really, really dig it, man. Like he's not just the right hand man of Muhammad Hussein. You know what I mean? Like with a little bit of a gimmick fun wrestler. This guy's got a hard edge where you take him serious. So I'm digging his character here in MLW.
I was gonna say, wasn't he the mouthpiece for Muhammad Hassan?
He was. He was great.
It was like 100 years ago.
He spoke. For a while, he just spoke Iranian.
Nice.
Nothing gets heat like Iranian talk. Here we go. Here's the Wish version of Roman Reigns from the Shield.
I'm genuinely trying to remember what. I think it's Arabic. I think Arabic is the official language of Iran. Though they speak a lot of Farsi there too.
Yep.
Yeah. Here we see
really
was. Here we see Myron Reed, who is.
Like I said, the Wish version of Roman Reigns from the Shield.
The most
generic. Why is he wearing the pec protector? I know, like D'Lo Brown used to wear like the thing, but did he actually have a legit injury?
No.
It's because he's cool. He's shielding himself from the injustice, Mark.
Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
No, sir.
Dive! Take a drink, everybody. We have our first dive of the night.
There you
That's
go.
pretty much. In a shocking display of restraint, that is one of our only dives in this of the entire triple set of matches.
Okay, I want to set the table for our listeners in this one. So the chest protector becomes a key part of this match, and they break it. So you'll watch later on when Davari strips Myron Reed of this jacket. Both of them take their turns trying to put the chest protector back on, but it's broken. So just watch the hilarity that ensues, including the ending, which they can't cover up from different angles at all. This is great.
Yeah. That's a rough bump.
Davari threw
that thing they're throwing him into there is not gimmicked.
Yeah, they threw him into like the DJ booth, and now Davari's working him over with boots to the chest, the protected chest.
Yeah, apparently Reed started wearing that chest protector as a symbolic gesture that if society won't protect us, we'll protect ourselves. Not a joke.
Hate it.
I mean, it is to be clear, it's a joke, but it's not an intentional joke.
Shielding himself from the injustice, gentlemen. Very important.
I want to have a group session with about a half a dozen people who actually genuinely buy that, and we're like, yeah, no, I totally understand why you're doing it, and we're with you, brother. I need to see, I need to have a group session with these people.
That was a wonderful Irish whip to the buckles there, man. Reed sold that like a class act there.
Yeah, Reed's again. When I say Reed's a pretty generic, cruiserweight from the indie scene. Between him and Oliver, I'll take Myron Reed all day long. He's a halfway competent worker in that respect. He knows how to put together a match. He's very spotty in terms of his match layout, but he's again mostly competent. Unfortunately, what we get here in this match, these two just don't mesh well in their styles.
No. Correct me if I'm wrong, Robert, but I think that Myron Reed debuted a little bit, or not debuted, actually started getting a little bit of a push when Leo Rush left MLW originally, and he was sort of being.
Then as soon as Leo Rush came back in his first match back, he beat Reed for the belt
immediately. He's like a rip-off version of Leo Rush, and they were pushing him as such.
He's Leo Rush at home, right?
Indeed, he is.
There is a lot of Twitter chatter about how Leo Rush is the best wrestler going today.
He's not.
I know that. I've seen Lio Rush wrestle, but I'm telling you, that seems to be the wrestling Twitter consensus. Is that the WWE just botched it with Lio Rush, and he's the best wrestler going.
Further proof that Twitter is largely useless.
So, by the way, Myron Reed just broke his chest protector. By the way, the strap is now broken. So this plays into the entire thing here now. Here we go.
And somehow eating dirt on a crossbody tweaks his knee. I mean, to be fair, that can happen. You can come down badly on that. And now Daivari working the leg.
Daivari looking jacked, still with the shirt on. Being modest here tonight is Daivari.
It's going to come off in a minute. The big problem I have with this match is just the clash of styles. Daivari works a very WWE style match, which is fine and dandy. It just clashes with Reed's indie high flyer setup, and they never quite mesh the way that you want them to blend together and form a really cohesive match. As Daivari with the figure four.
Isn't that like the theme now of modern wrestling? Is you've got half the guys working either in or out of the WWE. Well, I guess just outside of the WWE, the big theme is guys who came from that system, who know how to work and try to work those matches, clashing with the guys that have never been through that system and still wrestle the spot monkey mash move indie fest style. Well, and where you would think one would elevate the other, nope, the other one just brings the other one down.
I think most people are not, I hate to say good enough because that's a real disservice to them, but there's a real skill that goes into blending those two disparate styles together, and most people are just not very good at blending them.
Yeah. You're right on the money. And this is a clash of styles right here, honestly. Oh my, there you go.
Suplex turned into a cutter. A stunner.
I don't know why we needed that counter. Well, look, Myron Reed is not as bad as like Lee Johnson from AEW, who I don't dislike Johnson, but half of his matches when I'm watching them, there's at least 4 things that are done simply because he is physically capable and not because it actually adds to the match.
Lee Johnson feels like he's about 5 seconds too slow on everything. Like he's going through the motions. Like it feels like he's in training.
All right, I got to bitch about something because that's now the second time I've seen a clothesline thrown with no follow-through. So imagine, Chris, that I pick up my forearm and I hit you just kind of across the pec lightly with my forearm, and they're calling that a clothesline. When I went to actual wrestling school and I threw a clothesline, I fucking decapitated guys. People were like, I want a bump for your clothesline. You throw it like you're trying to kill someone. These clotheslines suck, and it's such a little detail, but
it does.
But it's one of those easy things where if the other guy bumps for it right, it looks vicious and it looks real. When they throw it like they're basically just kind of tapping you with their forearm across your boobie.
Hate it.
Yeah, it's awful looking. Nothing says fake wrestling like fake wrestling.
Reed here doing one of my biggest pet peeves in wrestling at the moment, only remembering to sell when they're not doing offense.
Yes.
That was not bad there. Did you see him like kind of stumble bumble as he was being thrown to the ropes because he's still selling his knee? I'll give him credit for that.
No, that's fine, but hey, I've got to do my leg drops now.
There you go. You're right. Here comes the shirt is coming off. Holy cow. Is Daivari and here he goes. He actually breaks the zipper off the poor...
he's exposed! He's exposed! He's exposed to the white man's world!
He's covering himself up, and now he's going to try to put this thing on.
Sorry, I want to play into the gimmick now.
Yeah, the cops are now coming for Myron Reed.
Yeah, we have snipers on the roof.
Yeah, so Daivari wants to go to the roofs. This will be his undoing.
Oh, don't give it away.
Big mistake.
Frog splash.
Frog splash.
Ugh.
Reed, gonna forget to sell his knee again here in a minute. Takes the chest protector back, symbolically, and literally, off the second rope, and he does the stupid cutter.
Oh my god, that's the 87th cutter we've seen in the 29 minutes this has been on.
Now he wants to put the chest protector back on, gets his arm through the wrong slot.
He can't do it up. Look, watch this. He can't do it up.
The
it will not go back
busted.
Together. Yep. So watch what happens when he hits this.
So at least he doesn't spend more time futzing around.
Oh, no, it's over his head. Look at that. Oh, my. Terrible. They try to cover it up in the replay. It's brilliant, but there's no covering up that chest protector.
And Myron Reed also always able to try and find, no matter how much pain he's in or how much he's celebrating, finds the camera with the red light over it.
Dollar store Lio Rush is victorious here, ladies and gentlemen.
Again, I'm not quite as hard on Rush as the rest as you guys. Yeah, they try to cover that up.
Dude, I like Lio Rush. He's not the best wrestler ever. That's my only objection. Bobby Lashley's been campaigning for him to come back and should be part of the Hurt Business, and I'm like, yeah, my understanding of Lio Rush was kind of like not Jordan Oliver, what's his face, ACH, who just kind of had a meltdown. Like there's clearly some mental health issues with both of those guys, and they washed out of the WWE. One guy got pissy about his T-shirt, and I don't know what happened with Lio Rush. He apparently became an asshole backstage.
So Dave Meltzer thinks that Okada is the best wrestler in the world. Now, I have seen a tremendous amount of Okada matches, and it's the same thing. Now, he pairs well with others, but he got one move. It's Rainmaker, which is a clothesline. And he does this 5 million times, but yet they call him the best wrestler in the world. Am I missing something, Robert?
Well, now we have Alexander Hammerstone on our screen.
I like his look. He's got a great look.
Yeah, it's Shane Douglas with some height.
It is.
And some actual muscle definition.
Yeah, and not burning every bridge he crosses.
This guy looks like a star, man. And you know what? He's not bad in the ring. He's more than capable.
I'm genuinely curious why he's still screwing around with the open weight title and has not been challenging for the world belt at this point.
They haven't transitioned out of the Contra gimmick yet. I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah, again, with whatever they're doing with their kind of Lucha Underground reboot with they have the Azteca Underground faction. Whatever they're going to do with that is going to be the next big thing, I think.
I agree.
So we're going to have to kind of wait and see with that. But Hammerstone, I imagine, is going to wind up in bigger places than MLW sooner rather than later.
I hope they just don't shoehorn him into like AEW or something like that. You know what I mean? That would be a big mistake. I'm not sure if NXT would be the worst, or maybe even some Japan stuff to get him, freshened up for American audiences. But I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know how NWA Power or MLW haven't been swallowed up by a bigger company yet. And
NWA, there's nothing left there. Come on, you got.
But they exist and just did a pay-per-view. I mean, that's my point. Like, somebody released a schedule of all the wrestling from NWA all the way to WWE, all the wrestling on each day, and it's ridiculous. That includes New Japan, and it's like, how is the market not saturated to the point where some of these companies are going to end up going out of business? I don't understand how this is a viable game plan for all these smaller companies.
Do you remember that? Yeah, go ahead.
I have to talk, because at the moment on screen we have this 3-way Zoom call between the backstage interview personality for MLW, Alicia, Richard Holiday.
I thought this was a match. That's where I made my mistake.
I cannot overstate how badly this feud between Holiday and Medina is.
Terrible.
Because
he's breathing rarefied air, Robert. Rarefied air.
First of all, if you look at some of the early stuff from the Dynasty, which was the tag team of Richard Holiday and MJF, it's not hard to see why Maxwell Jacob Friedman went on to bigger and better things, and Richard Holiday is not yet.
Absolutely. There's something there, though. There's something there.
Holiday's got a good look. He's got a great handle on his character, and he's not bad in the ring. No. He just hasn't quite figured. The great thing about MJF is he has really dialed into his character and has been able to elevate everything he does via that. Holiday hasn't.
Yep, go ahead.
Holiday hasn't quite found everything that he needs to find yet. He might go on to bigger and better things. Gino Medina's in the midst of doing a really bad Scarface impression.
Oh, it's just terrible.
The problem with these two feuding is they're both playing essentially the same kind of heel. So who are we supposed to root for in this scenario?
You've got two incredibly unlikable heels, basically, is what you have here. They're terrible. But both of these guys can put off a decent match in the ring. So I don't think from a pure wrestling perspective, I think we got a good feud going on here. But that Scarface thing is over the top. Now Holiday has managed to get heat from wireless headphones, which I really like.
Dude, again, Holiday's a little bit like MJF in that he can take anything and kind of find an angle to spin it to make you hate him. And that's an incredibly valuable trait to have.
It's true. And also, is there a more blatantly biased announcer than Alicia from MLW?
Well, no. Well, whoever does backstage stuff for AEW, but Alicia's a close second.
Fair enough.
Jim Cornette refers to Alex Marvez as Officer Barbrady. It tells you everything you need to know.
They're also doing this stupid thing between Alicia and Holiday where everyone else insinuates that they're dating. And they both do the "ew, anyone but them" face. So clearly they're actually which is the really bad way of telegraphing that they're actually involved somehow.
Yeah. I can see it.
I can't wait for that. There's actually a good line from Gino here when he says, "Look, I'm not here to talk to brunette Barbie or discount or the dollar store version of Ken."
See, they get it.
Speaking of which, what happened to Charlie Caruso? Why is she no longer with the WWE, Bailey?
Something happened there. She had some backstage heat, if I'm not mistaken, Winfree. Is that correct? I think she was playing second fiddle to one of the other people that they brought in, and she had a little bit of a hissy fit in regards to somebody who was brought in. So now they have this brand new lady. I don't know if you've seen her, but she's really plastic and almost like a knockoff of Charlie Caruso. So Caruso got the bootski.
I try very hard not to watch Raw. I was shanghaied into covering it last week, and it was just the worst episode of Raw in years. It was so bad.
Ashish led a group of hooded henchmen into poor Winfree's home and kicked open the door, put a gun to his head, and was like, "You will cover Raw." And Winfree said, "I'd rather you shoot me." And he was like, "Oh, you called my bluff. I have no bullets in this gun."
Look at that Byron Reed shirt. All right, love it.
So point being, I can't speak to who replaced her on Raw. I barely saw them on this last 3-hour episode, but I do SmackDown weekly. It's the other show I cover. I cover a fair bit of wrestling these days, apparently. And SmackDown at the moment has Kayla Braxton, who is 4'0", but great in her role. So as long as nothing happens to her, the comment section won't riot, I think. Dude, the comment section has the people that they are that they advocate for, and everybody loves Kayla. So,
all right. If anyone wants to know what to buy me for my birthday on June 2nd, I want a Tom Lawler's Filthy Island T-shirt.
Oh no, you're getting a Myron Reed T-shirt, is what's
happening.
No,
or
size small, so it looks better.
Then I'll give it to my son. Who...
You want your son to be bullied?
He'll just wear a chest protector to protect himself from the injustice.
From the injustice of society.
He'll have to wear a chest protector to stop the other kids pummeling.
There are no children watching MLW. Nobody under the age of 35 watches this show.
Okay, so we get a little bit of a replay here for a few weeks ago after Jacob Fatu done killed Jordan Oliver. Myron Reed ran out to try and save his buddy. The other goons from Contra showed up, and then Tankman came out because Tankman wants the belt because he's got kids to feed.
Yep. And now he is on the screen. This is a terrible feud. This guy he's wrestling here.
This is the worst.
It is terrible.
We have Buku Dao here, who is also 4'0", and TJP, he's TJP.
who was also on Impact, by the way, and no longer doing the stupid mask gimmick.
He did the mannequin.
He's wearing a mask. Whoever could he be? I think it's TJP with all of his highly recognizable body art.
Yeah, well, they basically the last time that he debuted, when they were still teasing that he was manic, even the announcers gave up midstream and started calling him TJP, even with the mask on. So the gimmick was over before it began, really.
Yeah, that's.
Tattoos are a mistake, people. Especially if you're trying to cover yourself in a hood.
Wow, Jacob Fatu is 6'2".
He's billed as 6'2".
Yeah, I was like, he doesn't seem like that tall.
There's no way he's 6'2".
He's definitely 300 pounds of all man there, brother.
That I'll buy.
I don't doubt these guys are exactly the weights they're showing. I'm not convinced of their height.
I'm suspect that that Tankman is, 350? Is that what they're billing him as?
Yeah, 355.
Oh, man. He's bigger than that. He's a big dude.
He's mostly maple syrup.
He's from Indianapolis, not Canada.
He's
You're right. He's mostly cheese whiz.
He's got a 49-inch waist here.
All right.
Again, I'll buy Fatu as a 300-pound in weight, but I struggle to see him as 6'2".
So I think one thing to say about both men before the match begins is that you're going to see a style that, if you are not familiar with Fatu or Tankman, I don't think you're going to expect what you're about to see, because these guys can go. They have a lot of, very, very high-flying spots, kip-ups, and all the different things that go into the mix, and this is actually a pretty entertaining match.
In my mind, I see Calvin Tankman teaming up with Otis in the WWE.
Yeah, he's got that baby face, features to him that, really offsets his character, because he's a big, big man who can hustle in that ring, but his look just, he looks like he wants to cry in the shower after this or something. Here comes Contra.
I recently saw Calvin Tankman, who's not a catch-as-catch-can grappler, but a brawler, with some high-flying fatty moves. But he was on the last Bloodsport, and he lost convincingly because he's not a grappler, and that's more of a grappler-based show. But he didn't do too bad. It was interesting to see him in that environment. And that's kind of the fun of the Bloodsport shows, which I would love to do more of on here, but I'm the only one that watches it. But I would love to do. I love the Bloodsport show because, like, the guys that come on, like, let's say Nick Gage, like, he was on a Bloodsport show, beat within seconds, because Nick Gage's thing is hitting people with light tubes and not wrestling. And so when he had to actually, like, wrestle a grappling match with somebody, which is what Bloodsport is, he couldn't do it. He got killed.
For the record, you want to get blackout drunk? Take a shot every time Fatu says Contra.
I thought you were going to say, you want to get blackout drunk? Take a shot every time Mark whines, no one will cover Bloodsport with him.
So yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you're exactly right.
No, I was just going to say, well, Mark, you know the bingo card we have.
There he is, folks, the MLW heavyweight champion, Jacob Fatu. If you're not familiar with Jacob Fatu, picture Umaga with a little bit of weight gone and some very, very impressive moveset. So he's your champion, and boy, he's had that belt for how long, Winfree?
About 2 years, give or take.
I have had dreams of him showing up on SmackDown one night and throwing Roman Reigns through a plate glass window.
Yeah.
Jacob Fatu is several inches shorter than Roman Reigns and nowhere near as strong.
But he looked like he'd eat him.
No. Look, he should show up and kill the Usos and take their spot.
Yeah, he would be a great heavy for Roman Reigns.
What are the guys in New Japan who are both really big Samoans? They're tall.
The Gorillas of Destiny.
Yeah, that's who I wanted to show up to kill the Usos.
I do not like the Gorillas of Destiny.
Why? Why would you? They have such a cool look.
They do.
Because I care about their matches, not their look.
Oh, look, matches. The bell rings and my interest
Robert,
is gone.
At least one of those guys is really good.
There.
All right, the match is underway. The bell has rung, and we are into our main event, and we have a collar and elbow tie-up.
Well, there's not a tremendous amount of animosity between these two in that respect, so I don't hate it.
Nope.
No,
and they're
that's
actually
fine.
doing very, very good tangle here, man. Like, these guys are going for a collar and elbow tie-up. If you're doing one, that's the way to do it.
No, I got annoyed when John Moxley and Kenny Omega started off their death match with a collar and elbow tie-up, considering there was so much animosity between the two of them. When you're just fighting a guy for the first time, sure, yeah, go, absolutely have a wrestling match.
Mark, I don't think that was the biggest problem with that match.
It wasn't. The old Larry Zonka complaint. Nothing sells how much you hate each other like starting a blood feud match with a collar and elbow tie-up.
That really needs to be on the bingo card, because you know how many times I've said that on our wrestling reviews? You should. You will listen to all of them.
Tankman just sent Fatu flying with that shoulder block out of the ring. Man,
and now
listen, one thing about Fatu, he can sell moves, man. He went sailing. Shawn Michaels style on that one. And Daivare's out there again with the shirt back on.
Yeah, Davari is here accompanying Fatu, and I'm sure he will not play into the finish.
Definitely not.
All right,
now
Fatu's
we're
back in, and Calvin Tankman is blistering him with punches.
Those are not good punches.
They're not. Fatu's he's doing his justice and selling it.
Tankman does some stuff very well. His punches are not great.
And we are slapping meat.
Knife edge chop.
And we get a decent enough hospital. Oh, I hate that spot.
Up and over. Look at Tankman rolling out of the way. Such agility from a big man here.
And now off the second rope into the arm drag.
Shades of Ricky Steamboat on that one. Good God.
And the jumping sword. We'll call it a drop kick.
No, that wasn't a drop kick.
That was a leg lariat. Almost like a leg lariat.
Yeah, he was going for a leg lariat, but he's so fat he couldn't get his leg to split as much as you need to get to really sell that move. So Fatu sold it after being brushed lightly with a leg lariat.
A little bit of the old jumping calf kick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So, again, this is what so that sequence we just saw out of Tankman is somewhat endemic, and what's going on now, endemic of his matches. He's got an impressive couple of spots, and then when you ask him to string together stuff after that, he struggles a little bit. Now, he is far from the only person with this problem, and I'm not trying to bury the guy, but if we're talking about some of the issues that he might have, that would be one of them. Fatu with the flying clothesline into the kip-up.
Man, how far he got almost the entire way out of the ring with that springboard. Holy cow.
And seated super kick, because the super kick is nothing anymore.
All right. As we continue to look at this match, I forgot to do this earlier, so I'll do this now. As you watch this match, you should be reminded of one of our great sponsors, Grammarly. Grammarly, for you listeners of the Radulich and Broadcasting podcast on the W2M, Grammarly is offering a free download of the Grammarly software. Grammarly's AI-powered products help people communicate more effectively. Grammarly helps you write mistake-free on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and nearly anywhere else you write on the web. Grammarly corrects hundreds of grammar, punctuation, and spelling mistakes while also catching you contextual errors, like I just did, improving your vocabulary and suggesting style improvements. Sadly, it won't help me with my pronunciations. GetGrammarly.com/W2M Network. Again, GetGrammarly.com/W2M Network to download Grammarly for free. All right, and we're back to action. And
very deep Samoan drop there by Fatu there, by the way.
I like the way he sells this back half of that Samoan drop. He doesn't just fall backwards; he throws himself so his feet come off the ground as he lands.
Yeah, he sinks it in. It's beautiful.
It really is. Choking.
Now, is that him selling it, or is that Tankman's weight causing it?
I've seen him do it to people not Calvin Tankman, so I assume it's just a stylistic choice on his part.
Very nice.
Choking Tankman with the wrist tape that he brought in. Because you have to be reminded that Jacob Fatu is the heel when he's not yelling Contra.
Have to let people know your affiliations. Injustice! No, I'm kidding.
Okay, yeah. So, again, and now we're in a really slow part of the match. Again, Tankman he's a wrestler in spurts. And when he decides to go, he's pretty good. But he's still learning. So I'm not saying that the man can never fix this problem, but he's got an issue of, again, stringing together a coherent match over a prolonged period of time.
Yeah, his conditioning is suffering here now. He's sweating like a water faucet here right now.
Yeah, when you're out sweating Jacob Fatu 5 minutes into a match.
Yep.
And, again, Fatu at least is doing a halfway decent job of stringing together connective tissue. Tankman, by contrast, is occasionally reminded that, hey, you have to do something other than sell before your next big offensive spot.
Very nice impact. I'm going to give these two credit. I mean, they're laying stuff in here.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no holding back here.
This following move, this is comical.
Jesus.
I know, right?
Did he hit any of that, or did he hit the second turnbuckle with his ass and flip over? I think he did. I think he missed Tankman on that.
He missed almost entirely. Like, he's supposed to do a cannonball senton there, and I'm used to watching Kevin Owens barrel his 200-plus pound, is like 260, into people. And then this guy jumps in with a missed Bronco Buster and kind of backflips over him and then hits him with a super kick because I got to get something in here. Now the old Tongan nerve hold.
That always works. That always works. Meng is somewhere smiling on this one. Tankman is not ready to give up, though.
Chris, did I tell you that a couple of months back, in fact, the night that I went camping with my son, Meng was in a death match with Schlack?
That sounds awful.
It really was. It was like this doddering old Samoan just wandering around a parking lot, occasionally being hit with a light bulb until he decided to walk away into the woods to live deliberately.
Nice back elbow from Fatu there.
Was that what that was? That was beautiful. Boy, he gets elevation on the move, so he adds a little bit of texture to simple moves, and I think it works for him, man.
Yeah, he's going to wind up. We've said this before. There's a few people who, when you watch a promotion like MLW, that you can tell are destined for bigger things.
Yeah,
Fatu is one of them.
Absolutely.
I mean, look, as soon as the Usos get cut, they've just reached their quota of Samoans and Samoan adjacents. But as soon as one of them goes, then he'll be in WWE very, very quickly.
Well, Jim Cornette has said the problem with signing Jacob Fatu is that he apparently has felonies that prevent him from going to Canada.
Well, Canada does not allow you to travel if you have a felony on your record. That's true.
So that might be the problem there, which is maybe why he's signed to MLW until he decides to retire.
It would be a real shame if they let the fact that he can't go to Canada stop them from maximizing this guy's ability.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe he'll go to AEW, who won't care.
Where he still will not be able to get into Canada.
But they won't care, is my point.
We've only recently let Michael Elgin back to Canada, so, he's going to
that decent enough pounce there from Tankman, but now...
Dive!
Sloppy dive. He almost looked like he wasn't going to make it through those ropes. He adjusted.
His feet caught on the ropes.
Boy, oh boy.
Like, if you rewatch that spot, his left foot gets hung up on the ropes. He almost injures himself.
Well, part of the problem is that his belly is too fat to get through the ropes.
What was that? Somebody tell me, God.
That was an attempted standing shooting star press.
Right, which was more of like a half cartwell that he did, a half free cartwheel.
Matthew of Botchamania fame, which is a wonderful series,
yes,
once asked Christopher Daniels, you almost never in my features. Why is that? And Christopher Daniels' response was, I don't do anything in the 30th minute of a match that I can't do in the first minute of a match.
All right, so that was a great sequence there.
Yeah, Fatu just murdered him with that moonsault. Almost got him there. Tankman just barely kicking out there.
Fatu blocked a cutter by landing on it.
He did the ollie handstand out of a cutter, seated super kick, handspring off the ropes into a moonsault. Really nice sequence.
And he got it all. Like everything flew like it was beautifully fluid. It was perfect.
It landed where it was supposed to land.
Yes, it did. It wasn't like Coleman, who's like that fat kid at the convenience store trying to do a cartwheel on a parking lot. And it looks really bad. Here we go. No, he's having none of it.
That is a nice move from Tankman there. That pop up into the spinning back fist I actually like. Weak backbreaker, and
there you go,
nice
Mark.
Looking clothesline.
Wrist to the head. He took his head off.
At least there was follow through on that one.
He got 2.5 there, almost 2 3/4.
He turned him inside out, which I like to see. I like to see a good sell off a clothesline.
But
at least that one looked like it had some oomph to it.
Yeah.
Is there anything worse than somebody non-selling a clothesline? Oh, it's terrible.
And here we go. Daivari slides the flag in. Daivari up onto the apron. The ref starts talking with him.
Somebody get Daivari out of there. My God.
Get him out of there. Taken with a headbutt.
Oh, headbutt, because, headbutts.
Uh-oh. He's stalking Tankman. He's got the flag.
The dreaded flagpole shot.
Oh,
right to the dome.
Contra, because here we go.
Here comes the double jump moonsault.
Well, at least he gave him a shot to the head. Here we go.
Moonsault.
Gentlemen, that is perfect right there. Big moonsault, and that'll be a wrap right there.
All right, so
it's not quite the BME, but it's a good one.
So here's the thing. I don't mind the finish because the moonsault looked really, really good. I do mind that he had to get it with the flag shot because once you've hit a guy with the flag shot, why don't you just pin him? Why do you then have to hit your finisher?
Because the ref didn't see you hit him. With the flagpole.
Right.
So you have. Well, also because look, man, he has to do it.
But that's my point.
He
Like,
crushed him with that. That was beautiful.
back in the day, if you hit somebody with unseen Bolorkos, you just went for the pin. You didn't have to do a fancy finish afterwards.
Yeah, that was back in the day. Now everyone has to get their finish in.
Their fancy finish.
Hang on. Until 5 years from now, when your fancy finish, like the Canadian Destroyer, is just a setup move.
Oh.
So
There
I'll tell
you go,
what.
ladies and gentlemen. Jacob Fatu, still your MLW champion right there.
So
We
3-match
might
card.
We might get one more match between him and Tankman, given the foreign object finish, but I tend to think we're going to get Fatu moving on to either Mil Muertes or Alex Hammerstone.
I don't see why we can't get both. I mean, I don't know. It feels like that. Once we start to have crowds back for whatever crowds MLW can muster in Orlando, Florida, I would think that Jacob Fatu versus Hammerstone would be a show you would want to build a crowd for and really build up. In any case, 3-match show, solid 1 hour of wrestling. I liked the first match well enough, as an opener. Middle match was fine. No major complaints, but that main event there, Jacob Fatu versus Calvin Tankman, two big hams slapping meat together, was really good. It was worth the watch.
Really good.
So that's my final thoughts. Chatterbox, go ahead.
I seem to recall my reviews for this being 2 stars, 2 stars, 2.5.
Okay, out of how many? 10?
5.
Oh, okay.
Look, here's my, for the record, here's my thought process on that. If 5 stars is a perfect match,
Right.
and then 1 stars is, 1 is bad and duds are duds.
Yeah.
2.5 is your average wrestling match.
Fair. That's the critically acclaimed scale.
And that's basically what we got here. Again, I didn't hate the first match as an opener. The booking was questionable, and again, like we talked about, Jordan Oliver getting all of 40 seconds of offense and winning a match after getting the snot kicked out of him, literally, because that's how he chooses to sell, was questionable. Daivari and Myron Reed wasn't bad. It was just a little bit of a clash of styles that never quite blended. And the main event is a decent Haas battle, but Tankman really struggles down the stretch, and he struggles to string together a coherent match from start to finish. But he has some impressive spots, and Fatu a little bit the same. He's not quite the wrestler that he needs, to the point where he can carry an entire match on his own. He still needs a capable and competent dance partner to really make that work, unless he's just squashing somebody. And in this instance, it's not great, but it's not offensively bad. It's just an average, 2.5 star match.
All right, Bailey, give you the last word here, quick before Robert takes it back. Go.
Yep, I think Robert's right on the money. I think these are 2 to 2.5 matches, especially for the first two. I think I'm going to give the actual main event a 3 because I think these guys worked hard, man, and they did well together. I think Tankman has a lot of work to get to the next level. Fatu is definitely there. If I'm MLW, I'm going to build to that audience, and I'm going to put the belt on Hammerstone very soon because I think we need to transition out of the whole Contra era and move on to a different field for MLW because right now we're on a little bit of a treadmill, but it's an interesting treadmill, so it keeps my attention from week to week. So I enjoyed this show. Like I said, a 2.5 for the first match, a 2, and probably a 3 for the last. So yeah, I enjoyed the show overall.
Yep. The next one of these, if they do it on YouTube again, we should get together and do this. This was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the meantime, we did shit tons of Pacific Rim stuff this past week. We kicked things off with Pacific Rim Tales from Year Zero. We reviewed Pacific Rim The Black. I released an old Metal Hammer of Doom review for Tomahawk Oddfellows, and then we reviewed the new one, Tonic Immobility. We recorded a new Pacific Rim Long Road to Ruin, which had Dave Wright and Sean Comer on it. We looked at Pacific Rim and Pacific Rim Uprising. And I re-released the 2013 review when it came out in theaters of Pacific Rim from when I very first started doing movie review podcasts. So it's an oldie, but a goodie. So that's all in the archives for you to listen to. Next week is all Godzilla Kong stuff. We'll be reviewing Godzilla vs. Kong Monday, Robert Winfree. Monday, not Tuesday.
Mark.
Monday.
Guess what I watched on Wednesday?
I don't want to know. So we'll be reviewing the movie that Robert watched and wants to spoil for me because he's a jerk. On Monday...
Hold on. I'm just mocking you because I've watched it and you haven't. I'm not going to spoil anything for you.
It's fine. I caught up on Young Rock, The Connors, and Snowfall this morning. It's the
Jesus,
same.
Why?
Why? That seemed like a much worse use of your time.
All right, so yeah, we'll review Godzilla vs. Kong Monday night, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, each one of those days we'll be reviewing the new GVK comics that are coming out on April 6th that go along with the movie, Kingdom Kong, and then Godzilla Dominion. Thursday, myself and Sean Comer will do an on-trial for King Kong from Peter Jackson, 2005. And then on Saturday, to kick off WrestleMania week, Bailey, you should talk about this, because this was your deal. You brought the author on to talk about Invasion from Planet WrestleTopia, so you go ahead and plug the show and talk all about it.
Oh yeah, man, we had an unbelievable time. So if you're familiar with, if you like wrestling comics like me, well, there's a really, really good series, and it's called Invasion from WrestleTopia, and we actually had the writer on the show with us. So it was an unbelievable time, and you know what? Ed, I guarantee you, he was a very, very old school wrestling fan with a bundle of knowledge and great stories from the Portland days of wrestling and all kinds of things, including a great discussion on, the behind the scenes of the comic book and all the inspiration. I think we got a magical show to bring to you WrestleMania week.
Oh, keep it going, baby. What are your plugs?
Plugs, my God, I'm just getting excited over WrestleMania week over here on the W2M network, because we got us a shit ton of wrestling to talk about, Mark Radulich, and I can't wait. So WrestleMania, we got NXT, we got everything that's not strapped down, Hall of Fame, you name it, we're talking it here on the W2M network.
All right, Robert, the floor is yours. We won't interrupt you. Go, baby, go. Tell them all 9 zillion things you do.
I don't do 9 zillion things. I do a lot. I do stuff. Let's see. Again, Monday. This last Monday, I pinch hit for Tony Acero, who I may or may not be plotting vengeance against after watching that 3 hours of Raw. One of the worst 3 hours of television I've ever watched. It was a terrible, terrible show, and I've not heard anyone defend it. Sometimes I'm too harsh. I'm a very harsh critic. No, not this time. Everyone else seems to be basically in agreement with that assessment. It was just terrible for 3 hours. I review AEW Dark Elevation on Mondays. That's when that comes out. So I went from Raw to the YouTube show that was 2.5 hours of squash matches, basically. It's a long day. It's a long day.
Lord, Robert.
I am not paid enough.
I see that. Just Elevation alone deserves big pay.
Are you done?
He died talking about Elevation.
Clearly. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, folks. I'm not sure what happened to Robert there. Are you back? Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yeah. My internet. Okay, apparently my internet connection died trying to save me talking about Elevation.
I thought you were White Van by Tony Khan.
You can find my reviews of that in the Wrestling Zone of 411 Mania. My biggest gripe about that, it doesn't need to be 2.5 hours. That show.
Good God, that's 3.5. That's almost 3 hours of fucking like low card dark matches. Jesus, you poor bastard.
Yeah. Well, the first episode was a little over 2. Second episode was 1 hour and 20, which I think is a perfectly acceptable length for that show. And then this one, they were back to 2.5 hours because God hates me. That's all I've got.
Okay.
I cover WWE SmackDown Fridays in the Wrestling Zone of 411 Mania, so please stop by, say hello if you're so inclined, and talk about, again, maybe the best thing in all of professional wrestling right now, which is Roman Reigns.
How much of the, besides SmackDown, how much of the WrestleMania week stuff are you being hornswoggled into covering?
I have not been asked to do anything related to that at the moment.
Just SmackDown?
I cover SmackDown every week.
Right.
That's just one of my gimmicks. They've not asked me to cover either night of WrestleMania, and I think that's probably a good thing because my coverage is I kill people's interest in product. That's what I do.
I love it.
I am the Jordan Oliver of coverage.
Perfect. All right, folks.
Hang on. I also host the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast on Sundays. Your weekly look into the wide, wacky, wonderful world of mixed martial arts, and I cover UFC events on most Saturdays in the MMA zone of 411 Mania. There is no UFC event this Saturday, but we're back the next Saturday after that. With
the irony of that is there are 2 boxing matches which I would have wanted to cover with you, and I'm not going to be able to watch either of them because I'm being dragged to Sister Hazel #husband.
Holy cow! Unacceptable. You need a chest protector.
I do. I need a chest protector to protect me from the white people at Sister Hazel.
Just the injustices of marriage. Mark, marriage is a construct of the patriarchy. You must rise up and resist, sir.
I would be less hostile about this if she were like, there's a band we haven't seen before performing at Busch Gardens. We should go. You're right. We should go. I'm up for fun things that we haven't done before. Instead of the same band we've seen every year of our marriage multiple times in the same theme park we go to with your parents. I want to go do that, and I want to kill myself. So
don't do that, please, Mark.
I told her I was mad at her. I was just like, I could be home watching boxing, but I have to go see your shitty band for the millionth time. And she was like, "Welcome to marriage, fuckface." I'm like, all right, fair enough.
You can. So
speaking of which,
to that. Stop!
Get away the end. All right.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Just stop with that.
This podcast is now longer than the show we covered. Go, finish.
Did I have? Yeah, I did actually. It occurs to me this is Friday, so later today I'll be covering SmackDown, and it can't be worse than Raw. You can find me here on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. I was part of the review for Pacific Rim Into the Black, the Netflix anime series, and I am a contributing member / founder, but without producer credits, of Damn You Hollywood. So you can find our movie reviews over there. I contribute to that 90% of the time. The other 10% of the time, Mark tries to make us do a movie that's so bad, I claim a mental health day. And yeah, that's it for me. You can also follow me on Twitter if you're so inclined. I am at Winfree MMA. That's WINFREE MMA. My last name is a compound word. I am not related to Oprah. And that came up a lot when I was a kid because growing up in the 90s, your last name's Winfree. Hey, you're a white Mormon. Are you related to Oprah? And I wanted to strangle people.
Great.
The answer is yes. Anyway, let's move.
Dean Compton refers to us as the Radish and Broccoli Network. Get over it. For those of you who enjoyed our commentary, thank you, Chris Bailey. Thank you, Robert Winfree. I'm Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.